Next. Oh, great. Hey, Fiona.
Hi.
Great. We'll just head straight into presentation 2. And so again, 40-minute presentation, and we'll be finished by 5 to 11. Let's go in and screen share. And I'll just get that as a full screen. Fantastic. Okay, so session 2 is, the topic is resolving customer complaints in hospitality. So we're really following on from session 1, where we learnt what good customer service was, and we picked up some simple skills that we can use every day in the workplace when it comes to creating that good customer service experience for the people that walk through our door. So the whole aim of the game is to focus on the customer and for the customer to leave happy and satisfied and hopefully return to your business and spread the good word about you. But unfortunately, no matter how hard we try to provide those excellent customer service levels, things do go wrong. And because we're humans and human error occurs. So in our everyday workplace, problems arise. Some of these problems are reasonably common. So they're the sort of things that we're looking at today, and what to do when a customer complains or you notice that there is a problem, because customers don't always complain directly to you. They might go away and complain, which as far as the business is concerned, that's a lot worse than actually having the customer say something at the time and resolve it and still have a satisfied customer at the end of the day. So we'll move on into it. Okay, so that's right. I still had to welcome everybody back and let you know that my name is Lynn Staff, and I'll be taking the session today. I'm coming from over 20 years experience in the hospitality and tourism industry, the majority of that time as a chef, but I have on occasion had the opportunity to move into those frontline customer service roles, which I have enjoyed. And I'm currently studying a Bachelor of Education to become a secondary school, high school teacher and teach the food studies and hospitality subjects to those students. So, and I'm quite looking forward to that when the time comes. I'll be finished. Next year will be my last year of study. So yeah, 4 years is learning a lot, but yeah, there's times it's a bit of an effort. Session expectations again. One, just to keep those microphones muted, which everyone has, fantastic. Again, we had some wonderful contributions to the discussions in the last session, so please keep that up. That's very much appreciated and one of the best ways for us to learn. 3, just be respectful to fellow participants and just be mindful of other people taking a turn to talk. 4, mobile phones on silent, please. Workplace health and safety considerations. I hope everyone jumped up and stretched their legs and had a bit of a walk around and refocused on, looked out the window, refocused on something other than their computer screens, just to try to counteract those negative effects that are quite apparent from sitting for long periods of time and looking at screens in our day-to-day activities. And just to let you know that the session is being recorded for training purposes. So the goals of this session, resolving customer complaints in hospitality, and again, there's that front of house. So that's what we're specifically focusing on, those roles such as the food and beverage attendants, the bar staff, the baristas making the coffee, the counter service roles in cafes. So by the end of this session, you'll be able to, 1, list the 5 steps in resolving common customer complaints, and 2, explain what you can do if a customer is being difficult, angry, rude, or upset. The benefits to yourselves in knowing this are: you will improve your ability to resolve customer complaints, which will lead to greater confidence when interacting with customers on a day-to-day basis, and also give you a more rewarding day at work, which is something that we're all chasing in our daily lives. So happy customers let you know that you've had a good day at work and you've done a good job. So again, I've broken the session into 2 parts. Part 1 will focus on those 5 steps to resolving customer complaints. And part 2, what to do if a customer is being difficult, angry, or upset. And again, at the end, we'll just have a short multiple choice quiz. Okay, a little bit of a different icebreaker this time. Thanks for everyone for introducing themselves in the first session. So this one, we're just going to put aside our current travel restrictions. And question is, if you could go anywhere in the world for a day, where would that be? As an example, I've picked I'd like to go to Iceland and I would love to see the Northern Lights. So it's somewhere very, very different from where I am up here in tropical far north Queensland. It's raining outside at the moment. It's quite muggy and humid. So yeah, I actually grew up where it was cold and I love that crisp, cool air. So that would be my choice. Anyone else like to jump in?
I'd love to go back to Scotland. When I went to Scotland 30 years ago, it was only for 2 or 3 days. And yeah, that would be a place I'd love to go back and just explore and have a look around.
Oh, beautiful.
It's just so beautiful.
Thanks, Anissa. Do you have any family connections there?
No, just really, love the architecture and the landscape.
Yeah, same. It's very kind of rugged, wild kind of place. But then as well, there's all the history too, isn't there?
Yeah. So, yeah, that's true.
Good one. Anyone else?
Yep. I'd like to go to Rome. I've been to Rome and I loved it and I'd go back. But just on your Northern Lights, Lynn, I'm booked on a cruise to do the Northern Lights in November, which I don't think is going to happen, but that was also on my bucket list. So,
yeah. Oh, well, I hope it does happen. The future is so uncertain, isn't it?
I suspect not, but I'm not terribly crushed. I'll just book for next year.
That's right. Postpone until we can get back to something. Yes.
Yeah, something.
Something. Anyone else?
My wish list would be the Antarctic. That's where I want to go.
Oh, yeah. Wow. I'm definitely with you there, Fiona. That would be incredible. Just somewhere where there's minimal human presence. And yeah, I think it would be quite a otherworldly experience, if you like something we've never experienced before. Thank you. Anyone else?
I'd like to go to Ireland. I go to the UK every 3 years and I keep saying I'm going to go over to Ireland. I went when I was younger, but I just want to go to the Guinness factory to say it then.
Yeah, well done. Of course you'd have to when you're there. Yeah, definitely. And what else are they famous for? Their whiskey, isn't it? Irish whiskey.
Yeah. Apparently there's the Guinness factory and there's I think it's Jameson whiskey, and they're like right close to each other. So you go to one and then go to the other. I don't know if we'd be able to do 2 in one day, but
I'm sure you could, or maybe stretch it out. Excellent. Thanks, Emma. Anyone else like to jump in?
I was supposed to go last year to Canada because one of the things I've always wanted to do was to go to that. There's a dinosaur dig site in Alberta in Canada, and they I think they were digging for oil and they found a pile of dinosaur bones and they just kind of built the museum there and then because they couldn't move them anywhere else. And a friend and I, we were gonna she lives on the other side of the world, so we were kind of like meeting in the middle and we were going to go there. So
well, I hope you can still get there, and I think we will. I don't know, I'm feeling confident that at some point we'll return to that, having global travel at our fingertips. And isn't it interesting how we just took it for granted for so long?
I know.
But
that's fascinating, Priscilla. I hope you get there.
Me too. Thank you.
Definitely.
We should all go, or we all go together. How about that? I want to go on your cruise to the end.
Yeah, I'm going to Antarctica. Great. Beverly, Emma, or Christine?
I would go to Russia. I just find Russia really fascinating.
Yeah.
It's red, the square and everything.
Again, so different, and I love the architecture. I would love to go there as well and see those amazing churches and just that whole Eastern European.
Yeah.
So different to what we have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. When we travel, we want to experience something really different to what we've got here.
Yeah.
Emma or Christine?
I'd be happy just to go anywhere at the moment.
Yes.
Queensland looks good. Yeah.
Well, that's true too. That is true. And as I said, it's funny just how we took it for granted for so long, our ability to jump on a plane and be wherever we wanted to be. So
Yeah.
but, it can't last forever. And no, I'm pretty positive that, yeah, we'll move past it and we'll get back to a different place, even if it's not exactly how it was. Then, yeah, there's going to be some good things that come of it too, I think.
Yeah, true.
Emma. Oh, yeah, sorry, Christine. Emma.
I'd like to see a bit more of Australia.
Yeah.
You know, Uluru and up the tropics, and yeah, travel. I'd love to drop everything and travel around Australia for 12 months with the kids, but you know, probably not going to happen. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, I think too, you know, again, just on that hospitality perspective, seeing as this is what we're focusing on for the presentations, I have the feeling that the next couple of years, there will be a really big focus on domestic travel. So as soon as, you know, the issues that we have now with border closures, you know, as soon as we've kind of got better systems in place, I suppose, for that, I think a lot of people, myself included, will go, oh, gee, I've always wanted to go to WA and see the wildflowers when they come out, or gee, I'd love to go back to Tasmania. And so even though the hospitality and tourism industry has been quite hard hit, I'm pretty positive about the next couple of years. And I think because it will be, I think, a couple of years, as you said, Janet, before we can confidently travel overseas, that internal. So maybe we'll appreciate what we've got here a lot more. And yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that. Actually, I think that's a really hopeful proposition for the industry, but also for Australia. So yeah. Great. Well, thank you everyone for contributing to that. We'll head into the body of the session now. So the first part, we were going to be looking at resolving customer complaints in 5 steps. So as I mentioned, it's not a perfect world that we live in. Mistakes do happen and problems arise every day in the hospitality industry. So again, this is actually adapted from the employee manual from where I work. I'll do a quick show and tell there. Okay, that's just a resort in Mission Beach where I work part-time at the moment. I've been there for a few years. And again, this is in the first couple of pages of the employee handbook. So it's all about, as I said in session 1, it's all about the customer. And so if a problem does arise and we get the customer on site quickly, we can return to that happy, satisfied customer, and we can get back to having that good customer relationship and maintaining that, and hopefully getting those customers to return. So the 5 steps, I'll just run through these quickly now and we'll go into detail in the next few slides. So number 1, stop and listen to what the issue is. So that's about paying attention to your customer. Stop what you're doing. They've made the effort to tell you that there's a problem. Number 2, identify that problem and take ownership. So it's about saying, yes, I'm sorry. I can see you have a problem. I can see you're frustrated. And then the third one is to offer a solution. So focus on what you can do. The fourth one is to seek assistance if the complaint or the problem is complicated, or if the customer is getting unduly upset, angry, or frustrated. The fifth one is just to follow up. And I think in my experience, that's something we don't focus on enough these days. Often you call up about something. Oh, yeah, we'll find that out and we'll call you back. And no one ever calls you back. Does anyone else have that experience? Yes, or in the settings that we're talking about, perhaps in a restaurant, you've asked what the ingredients are in a particular dish because you may have an allergy. And the wait person goes, oh, yes, of course, I'll go and find that out for you and get back to you straight away. And then you're sitting there for another 10 minutes going, oh, were they? And you have to ask again. So that's something that I find really frustrating, is not having that follow up. So even though it's the last one on that list, it is quite an important one. So looking at the first one in detail, stop and listen. So this is all about that active listening, which we touched on in presentation 1. You want to give the customer your full attention. Show through your body language that you are listening to them. And as we can see in the image here, the lady is leaning in. She's focused on the man who clearly has, has perhaps a problem and is chatting to the woman about it. So doing all of those things, just really with your body language, showing that you are paying attention. The next one is to let the customer finish speaking. So a part of active listening is to actually be quiet and listen. So don't butt in. Oh, yeah. No, don't butt in. Just wait until they finish speaking. You can also empathize. So try and put yourself in the customer's shoes. We've all been there. And even though you're now in the position of the customer service person, we really need to be able to see it from the customer's point of view, because that will allow you to find a better solution and to help the customer out as best possible. So you can even say something to the customer once they finish speaking. That must be frustrating. Let me see how I can help you. And again, we're going back to those discussion contributions that everyone made, that, one of the things that people really look for as a customer is a willingness to help on the part of the customer service person. So they want to help you out. They want to, make sure that you're satisfied and happy with your service, or with the service. Okay, the second one is to identify the problem and take ownership. So you can check with the customer that you fully understood. So you can repeat back to the customer, for example, you've let me know, that you've got the wrong meal. Is that correct? Yes, it is. And then you apologize. A sincere apology, does go a long way. And most people will understand when a genuine mistake has happened. So just, I'm terribly sorry. There's been a mix-up and I'm going to go and see what I can do about it straight away. It's really important not to get defensive. Sometimes, customers, it can be not as polite as you might like when they're telling you a problem. But again, try and put yourself in their shoes. Perhaps they're in a hurry. Perhaps they've got to go to a meeting and their food is taking an awfully long time. So they're feeling frustrated and stressed. And that might come through when they're complaining to you that their food is taking a long time. So just in your own attitude, it's about that active listening. Don't kind of, get all kind of ruffled and, oh, well, it's not my fault kind of thing. You just, that's your job. You just say, okay, I can see you have been waiting for a long time. That must be terribly frustrating. Let's do something about it straight away. And along with that, don't start the blame game. So don't go, oh, well, that's so-and-so's fault over there, because the customers, it doesn't matter to them. They just want their problem fixed. They want to be heard. They don't want to know whose fault it is. Okay, so that's something, not the blame game, but that's something that can happen is the follow-up is to just find out with your team members, how did that come about and how could we prevent that happening again next time? But in that moment where the customer's telling you the problem, that's irrelevant. Okay, the third one is to offer a solution. So again, we're just talking about common problems, and we'll run through what some of those common problems are in a moment. So with this one, it's just focusing on what you can do. So you can do things like offer a replacement or a refund. So for example, if someone's food has arrived cold, or perhaps the order was mistaken, you can apologize to the customer, say, yes, I'm terribly sorry. I will sort that out ASAP and get them a new meal. Or if they don't have time and they want to leave, offer them a refund. So you're doing those things that will hopefully mean that your customer still leaves relatively satisfied with the service at your cafe or restaurant. The other thing you can do is offer a complimentary item. So for example, if the customer has had a long wait for their food, you might suggest a complimentary bottle of wine or another cup of coffee while they wait and the problem is sorted out and their food is brought to them straight away. Again, if they don't have time or they really are frustrated and they just want to leave, perhaps you could offer them a return voucher. So a free meal for two at your restaurant, and hopefully they'll take that up and then next time have a much better experience and still go away a satisfied customer. The fourth one is to seek assistance when the problem is complicated or the customer is upset. So we're going to look a little bit more into this one in the second part of this presentation about what to do or what you can do when a customer is upset or angry. But it's enough to know just for now that when you're going outside of those boundaries of those everyday, well, hopefully not every day, but those fairly common problems in the food and beverage industry, that it is okay to seek assistance from your supervisor. And the last one is to follow up. So you need to firstly check that the problem was resolved. So this could be as simple as going back to the table where that customer is and checking that they have actually received the correct meal in the end, or that whatever the issue was has been resolved for them, that they did receive that voucher for a return meal. Because you were the person that they complained to, it is your responsibility to follow up and check that the issue was resolved as you said it would be. And the next one in line with this is just to use that as a way to learn from mistakes. So to talk to your team afterwards, and it could be something, for example, on the register, there's two very similar buttons of the same, there might be two similar items on the menu, and so they're constantly being confused, and that's how customers are getting the wrong meal sometimes. So you could go, oh, this is the problem, talk to your food and beverage manager, and that could be resolved, and then that problem won't arise again. So that's what we mean just by following up. So the common problems and complaints in hospitality, food and beverage that we are talking about here in relation to using these 5 steps are things like the customer receiving the wrong order, the food has arrived cold, the customer has had to wait a long time, contaminants in the customer food, well, that's a pretty big one. Most people are very unhappy when that happens, and understandably so. The service was not friendly or professional. You may have been charged incorrectly, or you feel that you didn't get value for money. So they're all quite common issues. So just a group discussion now. Please share an example of when you have experienced a problem or made a complaint in a cafe, restaurant, or bar. What happened, and do you feel that the problem was resolved? So I've just put a very simple example there. So you've said, hey, I'd like a soy latte, and it's arrived with dairy milk. That could be very simply resolved. I take it back and say, listen, I did ask for soy milk, this is dairy. And then hopefully the barista, the person behind the counter goes, oh dear, here's another one, makes that straight away for you, and you still walk away happy. So would anyone like to just jump in there with something they can think of where they've had a problem and hopefully it's been resolved?
I know.
Yes,
I know one. I had a lettuce salad. It was a Caesar salad, but they used all the dodgy outer leaves of the lettuce, like all those really dry. It was horrible, and I complained and said, "This isn't." It was just not. It was the stuff you'd give to the chooks, and they didn't care one little bit. Like it was just that. And I think there's some restaurants have a policy of try not to offer anything free unless you really, really have to. I think they really resist trying to sort it out as much as they can. They don't give free things away, because I just said, I'm not eating this and I'm not paying for it, because it was just not, it was, just not, it was very substandard.
Yeah, wow. And so they didn't make you pay for it though, at least, did they?
Well, I told them I wasn't going to pay for it.
Yeah, but you don't feel like they were trying to regain your confidence at all?
No. It was more a policy of, we'll just see how much you can get away with, basically.
Oh my goodness. And do you go back to that cafe or restaurant?
No.
Exactly. So that's a real shame that wasn't resolved, but yeah, I'm not surprised. I wonder if they have any return customers, because obviously everyone with a bad experience is not going to go back there, and they're going to lose business. And there's, the profit margins are not very high in hospitality, so they may well find themselves out of business at some point. Great, so there's a very good example of something that's gone wrong and unfortunately wasn't resolved. But how do you, Fiona, how do you feel you would have walked away happy if the food had been replaced for you, or?
Look, I sort of, you lose trust when they give you substandard ingredients. You sort of just think, well, what else have they done? What other corners have they cut? So it doesn't actually instill confidence in the quality of the ingredients.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. For sure. So they obviously need to get into the kitchen and do a bit of staff training, and just that simple thing that perhaps if you wouldn't eat it yourself, then why would you serve it to your customers? Great. Well, I'm glad I don't work there. Okay. Would anyone else like to jump in with another experience that they've had where their problem may have been resolved or may not? Thanks, Fiona.
I was having a drink one night. We were going to the movies, so we called into just a bar to have a drink, and I ordered, it had Coke in it, and when I went to drink the drink, there was a piece of glass in the drink, like a glass had broken, must have broken in the ice bucket, and luckily I didn't bite on it. But the the response of the staff when I took it back, like I wasn't angry or anything. I said, I'm sorry, but there's glass in here. They were really, really good. Like they replaced my drink and apologized. They then emptied out the ice containers, and restocked the ice and made sure everything was safe for future customers. So I found that a really good experience. I didn't get the brush off or anything like that. They were going to, they said, do you want a meal or that? And I said, no, that's fine. I'm on the way to the movie. So, but it was really good. Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. So you had that problem, and the customer service staff, the bartenders, responded to that appropriately. And I mean, that's an excellent example, because then that problem has led to a little bit more of an investigation of, well, how did that glass get in there? And then that,
and the outcome could have been so much worse. I could have, chewed on that ice or glass and cut my mouth, and anything could have happened, really.
Oh yeah, I bet they were horrified. What if you're really thirsty and you just scald it down, and then it could have ended up in hospital? Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that one, Anissa. And I think exactly, a contaminant in your food or drink would have to be the worst problem that you can experience, because exactly, it can be a major health risk. Yeah, so thanks, Anissa. Anyone else like to jump in with another one?
Beverly. I lived in WA for a bit, and I bought a wrap from McDonald's, and drove away, and then like the last mouthful, I looked at it and there was a massive blowfly in the bottom.
Oh no.
Because we'd gone away. It was. I just sent an email to like the customer service thing, and they said they did an investigation and they couldn't find out how the fly would have got in there. But WA is full of flies. Like there's so many flies. So clearly it did fly in there and end up in there somehow. And they sent me like a voucher, but I never used it, and I was just quite put off, to be honest.
And have you ever bought a wrap from McDonald's again? No. Yeah, fair enough. I don't think I would either.
I don't think I'll be buying one ever again.
Just not in WA. Too many flies.
Yeah. And I mean, that's it. Sometimes, no matter how hard we try, things do go wrong. It's often a very fast-paced industry, and not every issue can be foreseen. And yourself, Beverly, you work, as you said, quality assurance in the food industry. So exactly. Even the best of places, 99.9% of the time we get it right, but it's just sometimes. And I think in those instances, as Anissa said, and you'll never go back to McDonald's and get a wrap, but it really, that problem needs to then be used as a learning tool and a way to change procedures so that it doesn't happen again. That's one of the things we're aiming for, as well as regaining that customer confidence. Okay, anyone else like to jump in before we move on?
I actually have a similar one with I had a wasp in my food in a roll, and luckily I saw it before I ate it, but the place was like, it's a really nice place, and I've been back multiple times. They just gave me a refund, offered me more, like they offered me anything else I wanted, and I said I was fine, and I just got a refund. But I've been back there multiple times because they're really nice there. So.
Oh, good. Yeah, so it didn't completely turn you off because every other time you've had a good experience. And
yeah, like I probably won't get a salmon roll again, but everything else is really nice.
yeah, no, exactly. That's fair enough. And we do remember these incidences, perhaps no matter how hard we try to forget. I've got a quick contribution. So this was a couple were planning on getting married where I was working, and they came to do a food tasting of the meal that they were going to choose for their wedding guests. And they found a little bit of wire in the food. So everyone was, of course, terribly horrified because you know, they were going to spend a lot of money on their wedding there, but not only that, of course, it was more like, oh my goodness, how did this get in there? This could have been really dangerous. You know, and in the food industry, there is that little thing always in the back of your mind that what if, you know, and that keeps you on track. That's a good thing to have in the back of your mind, that what if I did really make someone sick? What if there was something in the food and that really did, you know, someone had to go to hospital because of that. So, you know, the alarm bells were ringing like, boop, 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 boop. How did this happen? Came back to the kitchen. What's gone on here? How did this happen? And all the time, the weddings coordinator was obviously trying to regain the trust of the couple. And in the end, we found out that the pans that the food was used to cook in had been scrubbed with a stainless steel scourer, and the handle of the pan was just detaching from the pan itself. So a little bit of the wire of the stainless steel scourer had gotten caught where the pan attaches to the handle. And then when the food was being cooked, it fell into the food. Nobody's seen it, you know, which can sometimes happen. Just that's bad luck. And that's how I got into the food. So this, the wedding coordinator went back and explained this to the couple, and they were offered, obviously, you know, another tasting on the house, etc., etc. And from the kitchen's point of view, that meant that, you know, we went through all the pans, and there were actually more than one where the handle was coming off. So we were able to get some new pans for the kitchen. So we were happy. In the end, probably partly due because of the good relationship that was already in place, thanks to the wedding coordinator. You know, the guests were already, you know, wanting to have their wedding. This couple were already wanting to have their wedding at our establishment. So she was able to regain their confidence. And in the end, they did get married there. They had excellent feedback for all the food and the service. So it was a good outcome in many ways. So a problem needn't necessarily be, even if it's something as bad as contaminated food, it needn't necessarily mean the end of, you know, your customer service trust in you. And it can also benefit in that we can change systems or fix whatever it was that ended up resulting in that problem. Okay, we'll move on now. Thanks everyone for your contributions there. That was excellent. Okay, so just a question now for everyone. Do you think that having a positive relationship with your customers will make it easier to resolve problems when they arise? So the tip here is just to think back. We'll get through this fairly quickly, actually, because I've just realized it's 10:02. So the tip is to think back to presentation 1, where we were talking about developing that good customer service relationship. Okay. I've got another quick YouTube video here. We will quickly watch that because I think it's quite a good little description of how building those customer relationships can help when problems arise. And then the second part of this session really only goes for a minute or two, talking about what we should do if a customer gets upset. So we should still finish pretty much on time. And as I said, Emma and Beverly, if you do need, and Anissa, perhaps if you do need to jump out before the quiz, then just put your hand up and let me know.
Yeah,
So,
I will need to jump out.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
the journey. I know we had a good chat there. So actually, maybe I will, just so that we do finish on time. I think, does everyone understand what I'm talking about with creating that positive relationship with customers? and how that can help us when a problem comes up. And that
Definitely.
you already, Emma, it's kind of like what you were saying. You keep going back to that cafe where you found the wasp in your salmon roll, because every other experience you've had there has been a good one. Yeah. So we might actually skip this looking at the time. We might skip this video. If anyone does want to watch it later, just email and I can send you the link. It only goes for a couple of minutes. So we'll move on. And I think we've probably also covered the scenario, which is just about from food and beverage attendant's point of view, when something's gone wrong and the customer's had to wait for a long time. So we're talking about things like offering the customer something complimentary, offering them a return voucher, making sure in one way or another that the customer leaves happy. Okay, so quickly on to part 2 now. What if the customer is angry, upset, or being difficult? And that's probably the least pleasant part of your day. Often people will get disproportionately upset to the problem simply because something else has already gone wrong in their day. They're already tired, they're already frustrated with something else, and this has been the final straw. So the best thing to do is to remain calm. Okay, so some of us want to run away into a corner and cry when somebody's shouting at us and being angry. That's me. Some people want to argue back. That will just make the problem, the interaction a lot worse. So you need to remain calm, let the customer finish what they're saying, never argue or get defensive, and then seek assistance from your supervisor. And if you have a good supervisor, they will already be there to help you out. So in summary, the 5 steps to resolving customer complaints are: 1, stop and listen; 2, identify the problem; 3, offer a solution; 4, seek assistance if needed; and 5, follow up. If a customer becomes angry or upset, remain calm, hear the customer out, and then seek assistance from your supervisor. Okay, I'll give Beverly, Emma, and Anissa, if you would like to jump out before the quiz. I'm pretty confident, judging on your responses during the session, that you've got a good handle on what we've been talking about here today. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you,
I
Lynn.
really appreciate it. And good luck with the rest of the course. No doubt I will see you again in different presentations and whatnot. Anissa, I know I'm jumping in on yours Monday night, and Beverly, I'll see you. And Emma, best of luck with the rest of your course. If everyone else wanted to just hang around for a few minutes, I'd really appreciate it, just so I can run through the quiz. And for everyone else, sorry for just those 3. Thank you for joining. Okay, thanks, Beverly. See you.
I'm happy to stay for a few minutes, Lynn.
Yeah, excellent. It's only a few minutes just to go through these 5 questions. We're just running a couple of minutes over time. So question 1, when dealing with customer complaints, should you A, roll your eyes and sigh loudly; B, stop and really listen to what the issue is; or C, not worry about it, as customers are always complaining?
B.
B, exactly. Stop and really listen. Question 2, an important skill for resolving customer complaints is active listening. Which of the following is not an active listening strategy? Yawning and looking elsewhere; B, showing interest and looking alert; and C, responding with an occasional nod. Which one is not active listening?
A.
A, yep, exactly. Question 3, if you are unable to solve a customer's problem, you should A, turn away and hope they will leave; B, shrug your shoulders and say, I don't know; C, tell the customer you'll find out straight away how to solve their problem and seek immediate help from your supervisor.
C.
C, well done. Question 4, a customer has received the wrong order. Do you tell them it will take ages to get the correct meal to them, so they're better off eating what they've been given? B, offer to correct the mistake as soon as possible and give them a drink on the house while they wait? Or C, ignore their complaint and hope they'll eat what they've got anyway?
B.
B, exactly. Offer to correct the mistake. Question 5, this is the last question. What is one of the most important things you can do when dealing with an angry or difficult customer? A, start arguing with the customer; B, ignore them and hope they'll go away; or C, remain calm?
Remain calm.
C, remain calm, exactly. Okay, so that's the end of presentation 2. Does anyone have any questions?
Nope.
Great, excellent. Well, I hope everyone learned something today, and they are, you know, definitely skills that you'll be able to take into the workforce if you ever want to become a food and beverage attendant.
Thank you.
Again, a copy of the PowerPoint is available, and I can email you that if anybody wants one. And also, it would be amazing if I could just get the feedback form completed and returned. Just my email's on the screen there. Other than that, I hope everyone has a great day. Thank you for putting aside some of your Saturday morning to join me and be here.
Thanks, Lynn.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Thanks,
you so
Lynn.
much. Thanks, Priscilla, Janet, Fiona,
Bye.
Emma, and Emma. Thanks, Christine.